billion. I'm just using the town where I live as a microcosm example. You notice, though, Congress isn't saying to Obama, okay, we can't pass the greenhouse gas tax bill, but you go ahead and implement it through the EPA and other federal agencies. And they're doing it. So it's the same thing, but in reverse. Yeah, Obama may sign the executive order, and when we see it, I'll guarantee you it's going to have holes in it you can fly a 747 through. Holes as wide as the Grand Canyon. And then the bill is what is going to be acted on, and you're going to pay for abortions. They had polls in Austin where over 80% of Austinites in Travis County, again, just where I live, only county in Texas that uses taxpayer money for abortions, tens of millions of dollars a year to Planned Parenthood and others. Didn't matter if the commissioner's court was packed out. Didn't matter if the vast majority of people in the town where I live were against it. They still do it. They just do what they want because this is a lawless group of criminals. And the way they passed the bill was illegal. The way they gave special favors was illegal. The way they wouldn't let the public see it until the day of the vote or the day before the vote was illegal. And if they're going to do something unconstitutionally illegal, why not just have the deeming? Well, they said Sunday they weren't going to do that because that was so outrageously criminal. Oh, we're not even going to have a vote, period. We'll just say it's law. The Speaker, Pelosi, deems she's got the votes. Oh, okay. Nobody has to be on record. So this could be used against the enemy if you stay angry, if you stay focused, if you stay involved, if you start working now against it. But I've heard the Democrats bragging. They say, oh, don't worry, this isn't going to politically hurt us. Because this doesn't kick in for a few years. Well, the taxes kick in immediately. But they think that their constituents are going to like some of the little freebies they get. They'll wonder why they can't find a job. This economy already has 22% unemployment. This will easily push up to 25 or higher. But still, they think that you're not going to notice the implementation of this or the IRS grabbing your refund or garnishing your wages. They think they can depoliticize it and it'll just fade into the background and be something that's unpopular that just continues on forever. Like abortion. 64 to 67% in the polls we've seen are against abortion. Still continues. You've got over 90%, 91% in Gallup poll against the open borders. And all the freebies and the anchor babies for the illegals continues. You got 60+% of Americans wanting us out of Iraq. It continues. You had 99%, and that's conservative, 2,000 calls to every one call for the banker bailout. People knew that was a fraud. They knew it wasn't to get their mortgages unfroze. They weren't stupid. People finally figured out the government's a pack of criminal liars. They still rammed it through. So they don't care if 70+% of Americans in the average focus group or poll are against this. They don't care. This is a group of lawless criminals. And so what if these House members that voted for this get kicked out this year or 2 years after that in the next congressional election? They don't care because they're all going to get revolving door jobs and their wives and husbands are going to get revolving door jobs and their kids are going to get revolving door jobs in the big healthcare industry companies and banks that made the payoffs. They're all going to get $500,000, $250,000 jobs out of this. I mean, right here in Austin where I live, the former mayors and city council people that stole tens of thousands of acres in the late 90s under SOS, they now literally own private banks and companies that build and own the housing areas, the luxury $1 million and up homes that were built all over the Texas Hill Country with the land they stole. This is pure mafia, ladies and gentlemen. They don't care. They're seizing over $1 trillion. This is actually small monetarily compared to the banker bailout heist of $28 trillion that's going to hit you with dollar devaluation. All right, I'm going to shut up and go to your calls now until the bottom of the next hour. Then I've got more audio clips of Pelosi saying this is a Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. You deserve this. I mean, these are the shackles, and may they sit lightly upon you, those out there that like this. Forget that you're our brethren. But the truth is, most people didn't buy this. And so the tyranny, the corruption is coming out in the open, and that's a good thing. If we can stay angry, stay focused, have the states challenge it, but not just with lawsuits, with laws saying in our state this is null and void. The federal government under the Commerce Clause has no authority to be doing what they're doing. And the fact that this thing is selectively enforced makes it even more outrageous and more discriminatory. Okay, let's go to your calls. I've got a lot to get to, though, folks. Steve in Michigan, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex. Can you explain to me some things about this health care bill? Can you explain to me how it's going to affect small business owners and labor unions?
Well, here's the problem. I'm going to be honest with you. I have probably spent more time than most talk show hosts, well, there's no doubt of that, and most members of Congress trying to read the last 5 bills. I have not read this 2,700-page bill. I did keyword searches in the last few days on it, and I've read the breakdown and analysis of it. And on its face, it is a 2.5 to 5% tax on all businesses and then a tax on all workers. You're going to pay for the so-called free health care. It will also then cause a lot of businesses to not expand because of the liability of hiring more employees. It will hurt the economy. I mean, look at how the greenhouse gas taxes, right when our economy is imploding, they come in and want to slap a 50% tax on all coal plants that supply 51% of our power. Everything is about shutting the economy down, bankrupting you, driving you into welfare, driving you into the control of the banks. So the government has a bigger and bigger dependent class of not just government workers, but people on the dole who can then be used as a political weapon to further rob the elite class's political enemies, the middle class. It's pressure from above and below. And over the next decade, as they fully destroy the middle class, they will then cut all benefits to the poor, just like Nigeria or Argentina or countless other countries that have gone through this IMF World Bank shock therapy system. I mean, this is a tried and true system of economic financial conquest.
Can you tell me what a single payer?
Go ahead, sir.
Can you tell me what a single payer is? I don't know what that is.
A single payer means the government just writes you a check and you don't have to go deal with an insurance company. But the Republicans tried to say that there was a public option and a single payer in this, and there really isn't. It's even worse than that. If we're going to have socialism and you're going to take my money, then there should be absolutely no bureaucracy and the person, should just be given the health care. But no, that's not going to happen. What it does is it gives money to insurance companies to give a lower standard of care. Steve, I appreciate your call. Let me explain it to you this way. My dad's a dentist and oral surgeon, and he's done over the years consulting for big dental chains. And he's tried to explain to dental chains that it works the first few years, but after that it destroys the dentist there and the level of care. What they'll do, and this is just one part of it, it's called capitation. An insurance company or an HMO will come in to a hospital or a clinic or a chain of dental offices, whatever the medical care is, and they'll say, we'll give your chain of, say, 300 dental offices or 300 emergency clinics. These are just hypotheticals. These are boil downs. We'll give you $30 million and on a 2-year contract to accept all of these cards. But you've got to do it for this incredibly low amount. And many times it won't even cover, say in the case of dental offices, the cost of the labs that have to make the dentures and so that quality goes down. And the dentists are literally making $20, $30 an hour. So, I mean, there it is. And so you get lower standard of care. People don't want to become nurses. They don't want to become doctors. They don't want to become nurses. They don't want to become dentists. And so what you get is something like Cuba or England where there's big giant lines to get health care. It happens everywhere. That's why Canadians and Cubans and Brits and Germans come here for health care.